Hey cats, it's your Midsole man, EDDBUD here. See what I did there? Today an initial review for you of the Brooks Ghost 17. A daily use shoe for the bulk mileage. How does it hold up in that very, very oversubscribed category? The go-to do-it-all shoe. Let's find out. Thanks for tuning in, people. Always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with our algorithm. Dankeschön. So the Ghost 17 in hand from Brooks. My pair weighs about 335 grams or 11.8 ounces. So that's a UK 11, US 12. I think the sample size is about 289 grams. I've got approximately 39 millimeters of heel stack with about 30 millimeters up front. So it kind of ties in with the sample size measurements. I think there's supposed to be about 36 mil in the heel and 26 up front. So that's pretty much spot on. 10 mil drop in this one, guys. That's either going to work for you or not. If you like those more aggressive drop shoes, then I think the Ghost could be great. It's that DNA loft material here in the midsole. It's a nitrogen injected material, somewhat different to the stuff that Puma are utilizing in their shoes. I've got a Sure A durometer reading here of 29, which is pretty much smack bang average across all the shoes that I've tested. Not too hard, not too soft. It's not overtly like squashy, very consistent across the footbed. Now the outsole here features two different sections of rubber. They're very different. This section here in the sort of forefoot and midfoot, it's a little bit softer. We've got a slightly harder material here in the heel. This measuring about 68 Sure A and this about 51, which is pretty malleable really. Brooks have sent these shoes over to me for review, but they're not vetting my views before my valued viewers get to see them. They're not paying me to make this video basically. Upper wise, we have a mesh here. It's quite thick and sort of double layered. The tongue is very reminiscent of the Ghost Max 2 and the Glycerin Max as well. The material and the thickness very similar, though the laces here are that thinner variety rather than these sort of rope-like ones that we have in the Glycerin Max. Kind of prefer these actually. It just seems to fit a little bit better. Significant heel counter here, and there's even an overlay on the outside of the shoe. Some real reinforcement around that heel area. Wouldn't suggest this is like a stability shoe, but at least it does protrude away a little bit, this Achilles area, a little bit like the Pegasus does from Nike. Again, it's another design aspect that's very similar to the Glycerin Max. No gusting on the tongue here, but I didn't find it was needed at all in the Ghost 17. No tongue slide whatsoever. Easy to dial in, a really great fit. You don't have to cinch the sides of the upper too much over the top of the foot. Now, I did find the shoe a little bit warm. It has been quite humid, I suppose, here in the UK. It's a nasty old summer here in England. You get loads of bugs, sporadic showers, these warm winds as well. It all just goes to make for quite an uncomfortable experience running here in the summer. I found with my normal to narrower foot, I found with my normal to narrow feet that lockdown was really good. I wasn't swimming around in the upper. In some daily shoes these days, they seem to be ginormous in terms of the actual upper materials. I wouldn't call this like large or wide by any stretch. I would suggest going true to size if you're going to pick up the Ghost 17. Slightly strange mottled Brooks logos here on both the lateral and the medial sides. I always think that companies can just lower the weight of their daily shoes a little bit, just getting rid of some of these very sort of thick materials that are just not needed. Just dispatch with the unnecessary stuff. Look at the Adizero Evo SL, for example. That one's mega nimble, light and fun, and there's the bare bones stuff there on the upper. That side, very comfortable option here in terms of the upper. I'll give it a 2.7 out of 3 after my initial runs.
Midsole now.
Now, midsole wise, this one's very much a balanced affair. Don't go into this expecting like super squash. It's certainly a shoe that is for sort of easy paced running, not something I would grab for the faster sessions, and it's not really a shoe that I would classify as all that versatile really. Easy, steady paced stuff. You could probably even run some slight recoveries in it. It's just very consistent across the whole of that midsole. Some shoes you just feel like you're sort of squashing into the heel. Not with this one. There's a nice bit of response from it. The DNA loft material here is a little bit denser, certainly than the DNA flash stuff that Brooks put into some of their sort of more tempo based models. This one seems more geared up for me for easier pace, somewhere between like 8:30 to 8 minutes per mile. The drop here is again very noticeable. I found that in the Ghost 16. It's very similar here. I think perhaps I'm a bit more tuned into lower drop shoes, so if you like a nice high aggressive drop, then the Ghost could be perfect for you. Does seem like you need to focus on your foot landing a bit. I really had to get up onto the forefoot to make this one a bit more comfortable for me. One other weird thing about this shoe, the insole has a real cup to the heel, and I found that in the right foot at least it was kind of digging into the back of my foot slightly. I did switch up the insoles to these Inerta ones that I was sent. These don't have anywhere near the same sort of level of cupping around the heel, and really nice impact protection here from these insoles. Also, if you do have a slightly raised arch, they might work really well for you. So I might do a more in-depth review on these soon. Need to test them out in a few more shoes. I think the only other time I had a problem with that sort of insole issue was in the Ultra Boost 20, I think it was. Now, the same type of insole, same problem, so I think it's down to that rather than the shoe itself. The midsole seems to be durable enough, haven't had any issues with like creasing, tearing. I mean, almost all the miles I've run in this shoe have been very comfortable, I have to say, nicely cushioned. I think I just enjoy this shoe as a nice reliable beast. You know what you're gonna get. Does the job a little bit like a washing machine, but with few controls, right? One where you just set it and press start. You put your feet in, you go running, no messing about, not too heavy, and the midsole works just fine for that. I think often like daily shoes get a bit of a bad rep, you know, all the Insta influencers just want to talk about the fastest speed shoes out there with like whopping price tags, but actually the midsole here is a really nice experience. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for the midsole. It's just not that versatile. Outsole wise, they could have saved a few grams here by giving us a little bit less rubber. It does seem like it's a very thick cut of this stuff here, and it's adding to the weight. At least it is decoupled here, so you do get a nice flex to the shoe from the mid to forefoot. It's grippy, the traction is on point even in wet weather, and I think the heavier set runners will get a hell of a lot of use out of this shoe. It's perhaps not a light trail option though. There are some ridges and sort of slats cut into the back here, and I found that I got a lot of little stones caught up in there every single run. I had to get the screwdriver out there to liberate some of the stowaways. No real exposed midsole issues here. This DNA loft stuff seems to be pretty impervious to tearing, but let's face it, right, the rubber on running shoes seems to be the last thing to go. It's always like the upper or the midsole just goes really dead. Very seldom do I see somebody that's completely destroyed the outsole of a daily shoe. The other bits would have gone way before that. So I think this is the main culprit in terms of the actual extra weight that we've got here. Just give us a little bit less rubber, Brooks, and also get rid of those spaces down here as well. If you're running on anything that's like got debris and sort of bits of tree and gravel and stuff, you're going to get loads of it caught up. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for the outsole. It's pretty functional. Value wise, at 135 notes, I think that's pretty reasonable actually when you consider what you're getting like in the Pegasus. A little bit more stack here. Very reliable shoe with nice comfort and a reasonable weight. Now you might say to me, Ed, well, we can buy the Evo SL for 130 quid, but I get loads of comments about that shoe that it's just too soft for people for like daily use. Light Strike Pro, it's a super foam, let's face it. This stuff's a little bit more consistent and probably a little bit more usable for average folks. Not everybody needs a light option with a, you know, super light upper structure, and of course the laces and the insole. Not great. Traction here I would say is actually better than the Evo SL. If you're running in wet weather in the rain, that shoe can be quite treacherous in fact. Really nice powerful toe-off grip in the Ghost 17. I don't really see either of those two shoes in the same light either. This is doing something very different for a sort of different group of people. Remember the Ghost 16 review that I did last year or the year before? That got loads of views. People really interested in that shoe. It's a very available shoe. People do really like Brooks models over here in the UK. So build is pretty good, quality excellent. There's no sort of sloppy glue marks or anything. Very minimal midsole creasing. I mean, it looks pretty much fresh, even though I've put a load of miles in. So certainly like an alternative option to something like the Triumph 22 or the Hurricane 24 perhaps from Saucony. Similar levels of bulk as the Vomero 18, though a lot less soft and compressive. That shoe is now very compressive in the heel. The 18's just really not working out for me, though really enjoying this one. I'll give this a 2.6 out of 3 for value after my initial runs. That gives us a total score of 10.5 out of 12 after my initial runs for the Ghost 17. Are you a fan of the Ghost series from Brooks? What's your daily driver right now for all your mileage? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Quick musical interlude for you. There's a track that I've been listening to that I really love. Also makes me feel kind of slightly scared. I guess it's got this sinister sort of vibe to it, and that is Another One by Mac DeMarco. I think it's the choice of the very dry drums and the sort of cheap synthesizer sounds and the vocal delivery as well. There's just something about this one that feels good but slightly disturbing. I love the verses where Mac's trying to sort of convince himself that perhaps his lover or something is still true to him, yet he keeps expecting there to be another knock at the door, that there's somebody else, you know, and he keeps going between these two things, sort of, yeah, he's thinking logically, yet then illogically and irrationally. It's a fantastic tune. The production on it is absolutely brilliant. Real atmosphere on all Mac DeMarco's stuff. You should go and check it out. Mac DeMarco with Another One. Thanks for joining me on the channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment for the algorithm. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you